Okay, so today I'm doing a textured finish using the sea spray powder with the vintage duck egg. It says on the instructions to use it with a scoop. I think it said like a scoop to 8 ounces of paint, but I do it, I put it in a paper bowl and I use it. I only make it as I need it. So when I mix it up, I make it to a brownie batter type of consistency so that I can stipple it onto my piece like this. You see how that it really gives a textured look? So then I just keep, this is how I apply it. So I'm going to cover this whole top with that, and then I'm going to take the buttercream, the Dixie Belle buttercream chalk paint. I'm going to go over top of this piece. Then I'll sand it, and all these peaks will come through. This color, this vintage duck egg, will come through as I sand it because of it being textured with the sea spray. So I'm going to finish this top and then I'll add more to the video. Okay, so when I mix my sea spray powder, I just use a small amount at a time. And I mix it, I'm using the vintage duck egg. I mix it, oops, till I end up with like a batter, brownie batter consistency before I use it. Alrighty, so I have it one-handed. I have it to the consistency I want it. So then I just start stippling it on my piece. And I do this across the whole thing until it's all covered. Because I want those high spots. See how it looks so like textured? I want those pieces to, the textured pieces to come through. When I sand it, I want those to come through, those peaks to come through so that you can see the underlining color. Alright, I'm going to finish this whole piece. So I noticed it's getting dry on me, like it's the paint itself is getting dry on me. So anytime that happens, I take my distilled water and I just spray it in just to, man, I need 3 hands. And then keep on going. You can even you can even spray where you see it's like pasty dry. Okay, so I have that coat on there of the vintage duck egg mixed with the sea spray. And you see how it, see some spots there. You see how it gave you a really nice textured base coat. So then that way, when this is all dry, I can take the buttercream and I'll paint this all with buttercream, and then I'll go in sanding. And then when I sand, all this is going to come through. So that's how the sea spray works. I wanted to, this goes a long way. I wanted to let you know how far this goes. I've had this bag, oh my goodness, a year. But when I did, for me to do this piece and that, I didn't even use, oh my goodness, I didn't even use a half of a scoop. So it does go a long way. And I use it with so many different colors. But anytime you see any of our pieces where it's black, a textured black underneath, that's what I use. I use the sea spray mixed with the black, it's caviar, chalk paint, and then I do the same thing. I stip wood onto a piece to give me the textured look before I go for the next layer of paint. Okay, so the next step, I take Dixie Belle's buttercream and go over top of this one. Now, you can either do it with brush strokes like that, depends what outcome you want, or you can do it like you did the blue, or you stipple it, give you more texture. I like more texture, more definition, because then it looks, I can get it to look more distressed, more vintage that way. So I do a lot of the stippling. So now I'm going to do this whole thing, and the table under there, that tabletop. I did the same step on that with the sea salt, and let that dry before I do sanding. Alright, obviously you won't be able to hear me with the orbital running, but now that the top coat is dry on the textured sea salt, I'm going to sand and bring out that vintage duck egg, that textured. Paint will shine through the buttermilk. I'm done sanding it. I know it's hard to see. Yeah, you can see the texture. How the sea salt gives you that textured, and it brings the vintage duck egg out. This is obviously farmhouse type of color style, so I'm going to probably use the Van Dyke brown glaze, and I'll glaze it, wipe it down, and then this will be done. I did the same thing with the end stand. I used the, see the texture that the sea salt gives it. Any paint that you mix with the sea salt will peek through because of it being textured. So I'm going to wet my brush. Yeah, that goes. All right. And I sprayed this already. It's damp. It's a Van Dyke glaze. And I'll do this sorry for the noise, he's working on something too. So I just brush this in there, and then I take my damp rag and wipe it back. Because this is the farmhouse style, you don't want a lot of dark stain. You want like more of like a tea stain. So that's what I'm going to do with this. So I'll finish I'll finish glazing the tray. And be back. So here they are finished. And that was using the vintage duck egg with the sea salt for texture. And then the buttercream over top. And then I used the Van Dyke brown glaze. So you can see texture. You can see the texture in there. Well, that's how the sea salt works. Okay, thanks for watching.